to find a way to get it back.
Well, please welcome Dr. Janell Carroll to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. We have some more couples we're going to talk to that are in almost the same kind of predicament, but these are two separate sets of issues here that we're looking at, two different ones. Let's start right here for a second, though, with Ken and Candace. This is something that happens in marriages.
Yes, it does.
Why don't you tell them? Explain this.
It's very common. Sex therapists refer to this problem as discrepancies in sexual desire. Let's face it, all couples have trouble deciding how much sex, and when I talk about sex, I'm talking about sexual intercourse, how much sex is going to be in the relationship. There are always differences. Sometimes there's a lot of sex, like at the beginning of both of your relationship, it sounds like. Sex was plentiful. Then things change, and sex wanes. You have less. That's kind of, there are peaks, there are valleys with sex that is very natural. It is very common.
And Doc, wait, maybe for the people at home listening to this, we not only should say it's common, but it can also be a useful tool in your relationship when you understand ebbs and flows. There are times when, you know, people are going to feel like a piece of meat no matter what.
Right.
And there are times that you can take advantage of that and say, okay, well, maybe we should take a little break from each other for a second. Not break from each other, but a break sexually, and then look forward to an opportunity to do so at another time when the pressure's off, and it might make it a little bit more exciting.
The pressure doesn't make for good sex. Let me tell you guys that. Pressuring your wife to have sex when they don't want sex isn't going to be good sex. If you want to have good sex and encourage her to have good sex, and if you're really telling the truth about showing her how much you love her, listen to her. She doesn't want sex right now, but you can get back there if you listen.
Me being able to touch her was my way of showing, you know, this is my wife, you know, this
She's
is
not
mine.
your possession.
True.
Right.
But this is my way of saying, all right, I'm secure with this. This is mine. I love this. You know, it's the touch.
This is like an inanimate object you're talking about here, man. You're talking about a woman. You're talking about somebody who has feelings.
I know we're talking about feelings, but she's not the only one that's got feelings too, you know?
I do understand that.
I got feelings just as much as she does.
I know, but your feelings have been clouded some way, shape, or form. Somebody told you that love means sex. Love means intercourse. Love means touch you. Love me. I wonder how many times you walk up to touch her and the touch is a non-sexual touch.
How many times?
And I'm saying non-sexual touch.
I love to touch my wife, but you know, it's not always about that. It's not always about sex.
You said it over and over again on this show. I love my wife. I want her to understand I love her. Therefore, the only way she's going to do so is if I grope, grab, poke, whatever else I'm supposed to do. I'm going to take a little break. We're going to meet another couple when we come back. We'll be back right after this. Please welcome relationship expert Janell Carroll to the show. I want to go right over there real quick because, you know, Melissa, I think also we ought to let Melissa go backstage right now because I know that baby's probably kicking you all kinds of mess right now. So, could you please say something to Tim, or what do you think about the fact that this man, knowing how faithful this woman has been to him?
In your situation, you come with a lot of baggage to this relationship. You come with women who have cheated on you. You haven't known much else. So the fact that you would assume that she's cheating on you doesn't surprise me. But you have to move forward and trust her. This has been incredibly hard for her, not having your support and thinking that you think this son isn't yours. So I think it's a lot more complicated. Marriages, people often say, you know, it's so easy to fall in love. Well, you know what? It's hard to stay in love. And it's hard to find a way to stay in love. And you guys all have to learn that.
Absolutely. What about the two of these guys in the middle? Aaron and Michael.
These guys in the middle, you can tell from body language here if you look at what's going on. They're together. I think that in this situation, if you give him a chance, Aaron, he came to tell you something that was very painful. My guess is there's a reason you two haven't set a date. Okay, you're not married. You're not married. And something happened. He had an outside one-night stand, but he wanted to come to the table and be honest. Marriages are based on passion, intimacy, and commitment. He wanted to be committed to you and to your daughter. And so I think sometimes it's strange. Affairs can make couples stronger because you know what? It can make it so you look at what the problem was. Affairs have very little to do with sex.
Well, Janell, now, when you say affairs have little to do with sex, that's probably true in anybody's case except for in John's case. But maybe the difference is that John doesn't think he's having any kind of an affair. He's just having sex.
I stand by what I said. I think this behavior of his has very little to do with sex. It has a lot to do with his ego, his personality, and what he needs for him to feel like a good person or a good man. I don't think he'll ever change.
Your biggest reason why you won't leave him is because of your rent? You got too much rent paid. Now what else you want? Well, what do you think? Now what do you think? Because now I just paid 2 months of your rent.
John, I can't do that. Look at me. Look at me.
Why?
Because...
You've already got your answer. You don't need me.
I don't care about that right now. What I care about
but John, hold on a second. She didn't get her answer. Montel gave an answer. A therapist on his show gave an answer. She's trying to talk to you.
The whole way home.
She's trying to talk to you.
Talk to me about what?
You're not going to hear it on the way home because I'm taking a different flight.
Well, then take a different flight.
When I get home. Look at me. I'm not kidding. This isn't a joke. This is my life.
I don't have to look at you. I already know what you're going to say.
This is my life.
I already know what you're going to say.
This isn't a game. I'm not one of your little girls that you can go flaunt and play with and send home. I have a family that's counting on me at home. I've got 3 kids to explain it to, why Daddy's turned out the way he is. Okay, you need to understand something. This is not my fault. And I'm not going to take your blame anymore. I don't need this.
Stop. Janell, why don't we talk about this in a broader scope? Because it's very clear to me. And I mean, I don't think she's going to hear this. She's going to sit here for the next 5 minutes and make apologies to John as to why she wants him to not come home. And you keep doing that, he will come home. He'll be there, because after you apologize to him right now on the air and you apologize to him after you leave, I'm sorry, but I have to do this, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, I'll have to explain to our children, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. By 2 days from now, you'll have him back in the house. So, we're not telling you what decision to make. The advice is that John's not going to change. All right, take a break. We'll be back right after this.